All right. Just reviewing that Alabama game. Obviously a disappointing end result, but there were a lot of good things that we can build on it, and then there were a lot of things that are concerns and have been concerns all season. I think first off, if you look at it offensively, just the fact that we had a back rush for 100 yards. I think it was 44 games, 41 games. That's a positive sign. I was real pleased with the drive right before the half. We had a good opener in the first quarter, but that we got into that second quarter rut, but we had about a 7-play drive there with about a minute to go and got points. And I think that was really encouraging. And in the second half, there was we had a 10-play drive, a 9-play drive, an 8-play drive to start the third quarter. And even though Alabama was scoring, we had an opportunity to answer the bell, but that brings you to the real disappointing part, is our ability to finish those drives. We get to about the 32-yard line, the first drive, we come out with no points. We get to the 10-yard line, the second drive, come out with no points. And then we were down in the red area again, got no points. So we're down there 3 times. And if you get your goal, which is 2 out of 3 touchdowns, that's 17 more points. But I think that not finishing those drives, then all of a sudden the psychology gets into it. So that was disappointing. On the defensive end, it was really a tale of big plays. They had I think they had about 69 plays in the game. And for 61 of them, we held them for 230 yards. For 8 of them, we held them to 300 yards. And that's not good. A lot of balls over our head, long runs, and certainly it's a great team and some great players, but we didn't do our part as it relates to mental errors and trusting your technique and competing on those plays. So that was disappointing, and that's what ultimately was the difference in the game, were those big chunk plays that they had. I think looking forward, the biggest thing we have to do is improve our stamina physically, emotionally, intellectually. The deeper the game goes, continuing to trust in your technique and to keep competing and not let anything break down. And that's not what we're doing right now. Not playing as confident consistently as I'd like, although there were a lot of times in the game that we did. This opponent we're playing this week, probably their best team that they've had, certainly since '01. Defensively, they remind you of the Swarm in the '80s. I don't know if y'all remember them. I remember them because we played. They're fast and they're physical and they run to the football, they fly around. The formula on any good offense is great runner, great receivers, and a quarterback who's playing really well. And they got all 3. That's a formula for having a good offense. It doesn't matter what offense you run. If you got a great quarterback, a great runner, and a great receiver, you're going to move the ball and score points. And that's what they're doing. Hadn't lost a game at their house, so we got a heck of a challenge. It doesn't get any easier, even though some people think we're out of the woods. Injuries, not a lot of new. Teague is the only guy that really I'm a little concerned about, but he's a day-to-day guy. He's got a toe, and it doesn't seem like a lot, but sometimes, when you got to run and cut, a toe can be a real nagging injury. It's kind of a turf toe deal, which is like a sprain. Daniel Lincoln, I don't know. We'll find out later in the week. And all the other usual suspects are still out for now.
What's the discussion like if you don't have Marsalis? What do you do there?
Well, we've talked about a lot of things. I don't think we really have an answer right now. We might have to rep a safety over the corner some. Brewer played a little bit better, and mean, he played for the first time, and he did some good things. It doesn't mean he could be our guy at safety, but at least gives you a little bit of encouragement. Maybe you can mix it up some. But there's just not a lot of different options, you know. We're not playing to our potential in the back end at every position, which is another concern, you know. So it's going to be a tricky puzzle.
You'd put that maybe the most optimistic that Naz could possibly start practicing this week.
Yeah, I don't think there's any chance he'll play in the game, from what Jason's telling me. There's a chance he could play the next week, but we'll get him out there and practice and see.
This time last week, you had kind of made that commitment that Tyler would play, hopefully first half. From yesterday, you sound like you're not going to make that decision yet until later in the week.
Yeah, I think it's too early to tell. I mean, the chances are we'll maybe stick with the same plan, you know, but I think it's too early to tell. Matt's a little dinged up. He got hit a few times. So we'll just see how they do in practice today and tomorrow and the next day, and then we'll figure it out by the end of the week.
Some would say, why isn't that stamina there 7 games in? Is it directly a result of youth?
I don't think it's a conditioning. It's not a physical conditioning issue when I say the word stamina. I think it's really more mental, it's psychological, it's emotional, it's intellectual, and it's just an ability to focus for 4 quarters. And is there some experience, you know, don't confuse, it's not just youth, you know. I think there's so much inexperience. I mean, we have juniors out there that have never played before. So there's a little bit of a, well, they're young, but it's not so much in the years as much as it in the games played. You know, we have a senior offensive lineman, but coming into the season, he started 3 times, you know. So I think experience is really a better word than youth.
Derek, would you expect that to get better as you get into November?
Should. You know, we're doing a good job of coaching, and the players are responding. And my history in this structure is you get stronger as the year goes. Where that hasn't happened in my past, and I'm really speaking of the 8 years, not counting the NFL, where we didn't get stronger later in the year was a result of a lot of injuries happening, and that affected the roster, you know. So, but I think if you just continue to work and hit and push and coach and focus on the day that you do, you should get better. And but the mental psyche is a real key to that. You know, you have to keep believing and stay confident and not get affected by the results, and that's the challenge.
Where is that psyche?
I don't know. I mean, I think the psyche was good Saturday. We went out there and competed, and then the psyche gets a little tough when a couple of bad events happen and we don't answer the bell. And I think that's shown. When you play a really good team and then they do some things to you, and then you can't answer real quick, and then you start getting like this. We need to work on that.
What's the difference in going through with a young team?
Inexperience.
Inexperience going through an SEC schedule.
Yeah.
As opposed to doing it when you're at Louisiana Tech and going through the WAC schedule.
I think there's some differences. I mean, those 4 top tenors you're playing, and let me say it this way, John. Probably the biggest difference is the expectations on the program. I don't think, like, relative to your competition, the differences is glaring. You know, we went and played Boise and Nevada and Fresno. Relative to them, we really were, it was tough. Mm-hmm. And so that is different. I think what's different is this is not new to Tennessee, the results. And it's certainly not new to you guys, it's not new to the fans, and the players didn't come here thinking it would be like this. I mean, let's just call it like it is. And when I was at Tech, it was pretty typical. And so you're trying to get them to do something they hadn't done, if that makes sense. So here, you're dealing with a little bit different mental state.
Does that contribute sometimes when things go bad, you think, and they feel maybe the old Super Bowl syndrome where teams, when they falter in the Super Bowl, and they just kind of unravel because of all the expectations?
I think when you're strictly focused on the results, I want to win, and not on the competition, that's when it happens. And I think our team, in many ways, has done that. We're so caught into the results. And then when it looks like, uh-oh, it's not going our way. Now, we hadn't done that every game, you know. And hey, Alabama they overwhelmed us there, and then we couldn't answer the bell. I don't think we shut it down. I really don't. But that's what happens, and I think that's what happens in Super Bowls. You know, you want to win so bad, and then all of a sudden, things go bad. Oh, we've come this far and we're not going to do it. And then you quit competing. Instead of, I mean, you almost wish you could just put a cover on the score and not tell them. Tell them all the time it's tied, even though they just hit 3 touchdowns, it's tied. Yeah, that's all I was doing. Guys, let's win the 4th quarter. Let's win the 4th quarter. Forget about, you know, of course I'm talking about a result.
Your first half, you've been competitive with about everybody, almost.
Except Georgia.
Is that right? Second half, not so much. You've been outscored significantly for the most part. Do you like where you are with for your game plans going in, and then what do you think's happening in the second?
Well, I think it's a lot of things. I think the stamina issue, the experience, you know, during the course of the game always gets harder. It always gets harder. The plays that you were hitting earlier, they're making adjustments and they're not hitting them. And when you're stopping them early, they're going to make adjustments. And you got to be ready to react. And the second thing is not so much the adjustment, it's the continued, and this is really what I saw in the Alabama game. It's the same stuff over and over and over. And you got to have the physical and mental and emotional stamina to do it again and again and again and again. You know, holding the B gap, run to the ball, whatever it is. And you know, that's what good teams do to you. They don't do a lot of the, oh, they're stopping this, do this, they're stopping this, do this. It's more, we're coming. And you got to stop it for 4 quarters.
Are you limited in your halftime adjustments because of inexperience?
I don't think so. I mean, you know, as a veteran team, are you able to do more? Of course you are. Are you able to carry more in a game plan? Of course you are. But it's not like that's the reason we're not playing well in the second half, I don't think.
And is it